Squidward tentacles, the perfect antagonist. Let me just start this and see how miserable it is. Is there anything interesting about...
When I think of SpongeBob SquarePants and why it works so well, my mind doesn't go to SpongeBob. In fact...
Stupid. Stupid opening line. Already stupid. Already too pretentious and stupid. It's fucking SpongeBob.
In fact, it goes to the other characters, like the random fish...
Not at all, boy!
Patrick Star...
Rectangles!
Or most of all, the series main antagonist, Squidward Tentacles.
I have no soul.
Now, many might say that Plankton was the antagonist of the show, or even that there was no antagonist at all. But Squidward is very similar.
Many might say. There's hot debates. Scholars often go back and forth between whether the antagonist was Squidward or Plankton.
To some of the great antagonists in television or film history, such as the Joker or Syndrome from The Incredibles, because of his relationship to the protagonist.
Shut the fuck
Squidward,
up!
like the Joker or Syndrome,
Shut the
pushed
fuck up!
protagonist's limit, attacking their weaknesses and challenging their goals with their own conflicting ones. So let's take a look at why Squidward isn't only the main antagonist in SpongeBob SquarePants, but also the most perfect antagonist in television history.
Come on! Bro, fucking give him an inch to take a mile. You could've... That's so fucking insane. The most perfect antagonist in television history. Do you know how I got this clarinet? I hate this video.
The antagonistic force is made clear early on. Something that the very best antagonists have in common is their antagonistic force is made very clear or foreshadowed from the very start. For example, in The Incredibles, the villain Syndrome is introduced early on as a child. Or the Joker from The Dark Knight, who is introduced in the very first scene.
Stop showing me the Joker. Stop showing me the Joker from The Dark Knight and comparing it to Squidward Tentacles, please. That's my one request. I'll watch your stupid fucking video. Just please never, ever, ever show the Joker again. Please!
Squidward is no different. In the very first minute of this first episode of the SpongeBob SquarePants pilot, Squidward's antagonistic force is introduced with masterful yet subtle execution. The intentional showcase of his house in...
I cannot tell if he's trolling. He's doing it so seriously, and if it's a bit, then you've got me. If this is serious, I am baffled. Masterful yet subtle.
Between SpongeBob and Patrick's home foreshadows the antagonist, Squidward's goal of getting in the way of the protagonist, SpongeBob, and his final goal of Patrick Star. Keep this in
Actually so true. Actually so true. I never thought about it like that. This foreshadowing is so subtle.
the back of your mind because we'll get there. A great antagonist pushes the protagonist. Another thing that separates the good and the bad antagonists is their ability to push or challenge the ideology of the protagonist. SpongeBob and Squidward are ideological opposites. Squidward is jaded, pessimistic,
We're doomed!
but also realistic.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Where SpongeBob is innocent,
Squidward smells good.
optimistic, yet naive.
Krusty Krab!
Squidward is constantly pushing SpongeBob's naive and childlike ideology.
The pause and slow zoom on Squidward with his face is good editing. This is like the fucking tapes.
Take, for example, in Pizza Delivery, where Squidward pushes SpongeBob's beliefs to their limits by questioning SpongeBob's willingness to put the customer above everything else.
Will you let go of that stupid pizza already?
I can't, it's for the customer.
Who cares about the customer?
I do.
Well, I don't.
Oh, Squidward.
This elevates the story because SpongeBob's core ideology was pushed to its absolute limits. The antagonist must be complex. The reason why my mind goes to Squidward when I think of an exceptional antagonist is because Squidward is such a complex one. The reason why having a complex antagonist makes the story work so much better is outlined perfectly by Robert McKee's book, Story, Style, Structure, Substance, and the Principles of Screenwriting.
Motherfucker, it's SpongeBob! It's SpongeBob! They made it to keep kids happy on Nickelodeon!
The more powerful and complex the forces of antagonist opposing the character, the more completely realized the character and story must become. And the complexities of Squidward's antagonism can fully be understood when looking at it through the lens of the positive versus the negative in the protagonist and the antagonist. And the SpongeBob episode Dying for Pie is the perfect example of Squidward representing the negative to SpongeBob. At first glance, this may seem as simple as this chart, where SpongeBob represents the positive, love, whereas Squidward represents the
Not just at first glance, at any glance. No matter what glance, that is what it is. It's that simple. They made Squidward sad and SpongeBob happy. There's no more depth to it than that.
negative force of the chart, which is hate. However, Squidward's antagonistic force is not as simple as this, and Squidward's antagonistic force in this episode can be better represented by this chart. Courtesy of the author Gilbert Bassey and his article, The Ultimate Guide to Creating
I'm gonna break
Compelling
something.
Antagonism.
I'm gonna break something in my room.
SpongeBob still represents love here, but Squidward's complex antagonistic force can be seen within all of the other boxes. For instance, Squidward shows a false negative indifference towards
Shut the fuck
SpongeBob's
up.
gift near the beginning.
Please
when he
shut the
says,
fuck up.
I'll buy the little twerp a gumball.
After Squidward believes he has killed SpongeBob, he tricks even the audience that he cares for SpongeBob by saying he wants to spend the day with him, when in reality, he just wants a front row ticket to watch SpongeBob explode. So, this would be the double negative, or hate disguised as love.
You're trolling.
Finally, when Squidward
You're
finds
trolling.
out SpongeBob is going to live, Squidward finally returns to pure negative, which is hate for SpongeBob.
Now it's your turn.
That's not what I meant, you barnacle head.
Now, we have established what makes an antagonist complex, but something that makes a great antagonist is how good they are at attacking the protagonist's greatest weaknesses. SpongeBob, like Mr. Incredible, is overly emotional and has an irrationally annoying love for people he's close to, which is actually one of both of their greatest character traits. However, the antagonists in their
Show me
respective
the Joker.
stories, Syndrome
Show me
and
the fucking
Squidward,
Joker.
are skilled at attacking that. For example, in the same episode we looked at before, Dying for Pie, SpongeBob goes out of his way to make Squidward a homemade gift, which was a sweater.
We
made from his
already
own
talked
eyelash.
about this.
Squidward swiftly and calculatedly rejects SpongeBob, leaving him an absolute wreck. Squidward uses one of SpongeBob's
Bro, he's used the same clip of the sweater at least 4 fucking times. He's got one clip.
greatest strengths, which is his love for people, including Squidward, and he turns it into a weakness because Squidward doesn't fear death. In fact, he welcomes it in this scene.
Here, please hit me as hard as you can.
Squidward, I'm working in the kitchen. At night.
Don't hold back.
This affinity for death makes the sponge sad because he loves his friend so dearly and doesn't want to see him go.
I now
Squidward
realize.
effectively
I now realize with 10 minutes left in this video, I have been trolled. There is no fucking shot this is real. You had me in the first half. There's no shot. There's no shot. You cannot. The fucking 5th time I saw this fucking scene, I realized there's no way. No human being did this unironically.
turned SpongeBob's greatest strength into his greatest weakness in a matter of seconds. John Truby, in his book Anatomy of a Story, outlines a simple equation
We're
that
back to
shows
John
the
Truby
importance of showing a character's weakness in a story. W times A equals C, where W stands for weaknesses, both psychological and moral. A represents the struggle to accomplish the basic action in the middle of the story, and C stands for the changed person.
You got me.
Weakness
No, you
times
got me.
action
Hey, well played.
equals change,
Well played.
or whack for short,
Well
can
played.
be seen in Dying for Pie, but taken a step further.
Whack.
In Dying for Pie, SpongeBob's strength, which is his love for Squidward,
He keeps saying dying for pie, bro. That's how I know it's a fucking troll. I know it's a troll because he's only shown dying for pie 1,000 times. And he's going to show that fucking crying sweater scene again. I know it. And the Joker.
is actually turned into the W in this equation, or his weakness, only because the
broke it.
antagonist Squidward
I
turned
broke
it
it.
into one.
I broke it.
And that weakness
I broke
times
it.
the A, or the struggle to accomplish the basic
I broke
action
it.
of trying to
I
connect
broke
with
it.
Squidward, equals C, which is a changed sponge that can blow bubbles that explode and doesn't fear death himself. This is a prime example of this whack theory.
hate this
Now,
video.
remember when we talked about Squidward's
I hate
introduction
this
to the
video.
series with his house foreshadowing how he will come
I
in
do
between
remember.
SpongeBob and his ultimate goal of
I do
Patrick?
remember.
Well, this represents Squidward's constant attempts throughout the series at getting between SpongeBob
Yeah,
and his
you
ultimate
said that already.
goal
You said
of
that already.
having a romantic relationship with Patrick Star. For instance, in this scene, Squidward interrupts Patrick from getting brain from SpongeBob.
How are you doing that?
And if you need any more proof, here's a scene basically spelling out Squidward's horrible views on homosexuality.
I hate gay people.
Squidward's house
Why couldn't you just put that shit in the first 30 seconds so we could all go, okay, it's fake, haha, and move on? You gave me fucking 6 minutes of the fucking theory of the allegory of the cave with fucking John Truby's, and there's still fucking 10 minutes left.
being in between SpongeBob and Patrick's represents Squidward getting in between the protagonist's ultimate goal of being in a loving relationship.
I broke my Hitman gun, dude. I broke my, oh fuck. It still shoots. I broke my Hitman gun for this fucker.
In the great stories, there needs to be a goal that reflects the philosophy and desire of the antagonist.
Of course there
And
does.
if the
Tell me about
protagonist
it.
is only trying to defeat the antagonist because they are evil, then the story lacks depth. But SpongeBob and Squidward have conflicting goals and ideologies, which make it very fascinating to watch. This fascination comes from there being more on the line. Just like in the episode Pizza
Same clip.
Delivery, like I mentioned.
Bro, I know it's parody, but I'm still pissed at it. Somehow I can know it's parody and still hate it because you've still only shown clips from like 2 episodes. There's like 5 seasons. There's like 10 seasons of SpongeBob.
This dynamic is present in another great antagonist in one of television's greatest dramas, Breaking Bad.
Right.
In that show, Holly, the antagonist, pushes Walter, the protagonist, to his limit by targeting Walt's greatest weakness, which is his pride. In this scene, Holly forces Walt to swallow his pride by soiling herself on purpose in order to challenge Walter's ideology. And it has come to my attention, thanks to a YouTube comment, that this scene was entirely improvised and unscripted, which makes it and the performance of the actors ever the more brilliant.
Okay.
So these two scenes from SpongeBob and Breaking Bad mirror one another. They both have their antagonists challenging their protagonist. In Batman, it's the soul of Gotham that's on the line.
right.
And in Breaking Bad, it's how far will a man go to maintain his pride. And in Barnyard, it is the well-being of the farm's citizens
Right.
in a battle of chaos versus order.
That's so
and
true.
Otis versus
Actually, you've
Snarky Boy.
converted me.
Called boy tipping.
But in
horrendous
SpongeBob,
film
it's
Barnyard
whether or
looks like.
not SpongeBob and Patrick will end up happy together,
Okay.
or will Squidward's evil antagonistic force prevail.
How could there be more to this
natural
video?
conflict makes Squidward more real and less of a cutout or a simple force in the protagonist's way. It humanizes Squidward because it highlights the flaws he has while
have that
trying
painting.
to accomplish his even more ideologically flawed goal. The antagonist must do more than give the hero something to do. They need to not only be focused on their goal, but have a reason they want to accomplish it in the first place. An antagonist must have a reason to accomplish their goals. Even
Not a real
though
fan if you
the
don't have one.
antagonist's goal is an evil one, like Squidward's, it's important for a story that the antagonist have a reason to achieve this goal because it adds weight to a character and creates more natural and organic conflict. For example, Syndrome's reason for trying to make everyone super was because he had a hatred for superheroes
We know.
from his relationship
We know.
with Mr. Incredible.
We know. We've seen the movie.
And Squidward's reason to complete his goal of trying to stop SpongeBob and Patrick's relationship stems from a homophobic tendency that was picked up in the episode Artist Unknown, when this homosexual fish denied his artwork.
How about this one? I call it bold and brag. More like belongs in my eyes. Ah!
When we start to delve deeper into the character of Squidward Tentacles, the pure chilling brilliance
does check
of the
out.
writing is revealed.
It does
Because
check out.
Who else in history had his artwork denied and was extremely homophobic? Yes, I am referring to the infamous antagonist of the world, Adolf Hitler.
You're
It's impossible to unsee once noticed. The depression, the homophobia in Squidward, and failure as an artist exactly mirrors that of Adolf Hitler. The similarities between the two antagonists don't stop there. They both had big noses, they both killed themselves, and the episode The Red Mist,
No!
it's canon, but they tried to cover it up because they were unsure about letting the audience know that Squidward is literally Hitler. Squidward and Hitler both wanted to live in a gentrified society, and I know he wanted to leave, but I mean, if Hitler got what he wanted, he probably would have gotten sick of it as well. And look what happens when you scramble the letters of Squidward.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. That's actually fucking crazy. Well, actually, that's a little eerie. Actually, wait a minute. That's a little spooky. I know it's a joke, but that's.
Wait,
I'll never
did
see
you
the
catch
show
that?
the same way again.
Let's go frame by frame to get a closer look and analyze this scene from the episode Bubble Stand. As you can see, perfectly clear, Squidward morphs his body into the shape of a swastika. If this isn't an objective indication
I don't
of the
even-
creator's
that's
subjective intentions,
that's
I
not-
don't know what is.
don't.
This is why the creators of SpongeBob have moved to mostly torturing Squidward in the recent episodes, because they are trying to give some retribution. Squidward deserves the infinite torture, just like Hitler.
Damn, did they
Now-
really fry Squidward into a chicken fried steak and then have someone eat him? That's actually in the show. That's kind of sick.
I get some criticism for not addressing the critics of my arguments enough on this channel, and I get it. So, many might argue that Squidward wasn't Hitler, because
You know, this actually makes me so fucking happy. Because this is the same guy that made the Wonkaverse video, right? Is this the same guy? Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Squidward wasn't evil.
Because that video molded me so hard, but now I know he's fucking joking.
However, I would like to prove that Squidward was the epitome of evil with one simple scene. Here, Squidward tries putting a lemon into his tea. And as we know from the series episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5, every villain is lemons. And when Squidward tried to put the lemon into his drink, Squidward was so evil that the lemon tried attacking him, knowing that he needed to be stopped. Some people may say that Squidward was the best part of SpongeBob because they can relate or empathize with him. And empathizing with the character is important. John Truby, the author of The Anatomy of a Story, has this to say about empathizing with a character. To empathize with someone means to care about and understand him. That's why the trick to keeping the audience's interest in a character, even when the character is not likable or is taking immoral actions, is to show the audience the hero's motive. So in empathizing with the antagonist, we can see clearer the protagonist's motives. Squidward, like Hitler, manipulated people into empathizing with him, and in turn gained more power to challenge the protagonist, like
Yes.
Senator Palpatine from the Star Wars prequels.
Much like Palpatine. I was
This
just thinking that.
is the genius of the writing team on SpongeBob, because Squidward manipulates even the audience to like him. So if he is your favorite character, you essentially like Hitler. Squidward being Hitler alongside his antagonistic force being apparent early, his ability to push the SpongeBob to his limits, turn the protagonist's greatest
please.
strength into a
Please
weakness,
show that clip again.
and
One more time.
Squidward getting in the way of SpongeBob's ultimate goals is why Squidward is the perfect antagonist.
Yes. Well said,
And
King.
as always, thanks for watching.
That was a roller coaster of emotions. And at the end of it, I'm proud to say that I definitely didn't fall for it for 6 minutes. I definitely wasn't completely fooled and actually angry for 6 minutes. I knew all along that it was masterful satire. And I was in on the joke.
Check it.